Well, every time that I go out walking, the devil comes walking with me. Yeah, just behind. I said every time that I go out walking, the devil comes walking with me.
I do see myself as outside. I guess it could be a romantic notion on my part. Maybe I'm no more outsider than anyone else, but it has been something that's informed my practice and informed my life. It's this idea of me against them, you know. And I think probably what it is because generally every time I actually try to fit in, it's been pretty much a dismal failure. I've never really sort of fit in with groups. I was never the kid to be picked at sports games at school. I was never, although I had groups of friends and hobbies and clubs that I joined, I never quite fit in. Now I think that's something that happens to everyone, but perhaps I was just a little bit more sensitive to it than others were. I was hanging around with people who were 10 years older than me, and doing drugs, and basically coming home and putting my music on, punk music on full bore. So with no sort of real empathy to my family. So when I finally did go out, and they did finally kick me out, and it was difficult for them to do. But I tended to. I went to other friends. I went to these friends who I was doing drugs with, friends who were hanging around with obviously hardened criminals, if you want to put it that way. I had no real place to go. I was eating out of the bins at McDonald's. I was sleeping in toilet blocks or in the backs of people's cars, wherever I could actually get some shelter. And I think it's around about this stage that my perception of identity started to change. The idea that there was this subculture you find on the streets that you don't find in general society. In 1992, on my birthday, September the 6th, I had some tests done at the doctors, and I was before I went off and had my birthday celebrations, I thought I'd drop into the doctors and pick up my results. And I remember turning up, and I'd had my regular HIV test, which I'd been having for years before. I mean, ever since AIDS sort of reared its ugly head in here in Perth, I'd been getting tested, obviously, because I was sexually active. And I went to the doctors, and they said to me, "Oh, it's your birthday." I went, "Yeah, yeah." And they said, "Oh, happy birthday." I went, "Oh, thank you." And then the nurse said, "Anyway, your test results are." "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Of course, I laughed, simply because of her reaction. But yeah, I had tested positive in '92. So which was difficult, to say the least. Not so much for me, but for my partner at the time, who had obviously infected me. My partner was Rochelle Sermon. She was a pre-operative transsexual, which is to say that she was going for the sex change and but hadn't actually had it yet. She died in 1995, and she was 25 years old. So, and it was a difficult year. My father had died the month before as well, so pretty awful time. And so basically, we left Chanel and I as a unit. It was just the two of us after that.
Dad being HIV positive doesn't really affect me on most days. Like, half the time I'll completely forget about it until he turns up sick or has a doctor's appointment or something like that, and then I'll remember. Otherwise, it's just a fact of life. But going to the hospital and the clinics and things like that, that screws me up for a couple of hours. I get all depressed and sad.